Hello friends, welcome to my channel Sushant Chess Wise. Today we are going to look at the new topic middle game positions explained. So I am trying to take some middle game positions now like we are doing for the end games. So these positions are based on either calculation of long variation or there will be many variations in the position. So when we look at this position, we can see that the black king has come out. White's pieces are very active. Rook on d1, knight on d6 and rook on a7. So we will focus on finding the moves instantly. White realizes that his advantage is already decisive, means he is going to get a combination and he looks for the moves now. So one is rook a5 check, second is rook c1 check and third is b4 check. So when we look at this position, white to play and win of course, and we see that after rook a5 check, kb6, we see that rook b5 check, king goes to b7, then rook b7 check. And what we realize, after rook b7 check, king has to go to d8, then white wins after nf7 check. But after rook a5 check, kb6, rook b5 check, king a7 comes, and when after rook b7, king a8, rook a1, it looks like white is winning. But the problem is there is the move na6. If black had to play rook a6 there, then rook b8 check followed by a6 rook would have been taken. But after knight a6, white may have to settle with the move rook g7. But in the game, white got a forced mate. Let's see how. After the move rook c1, king takes d6 and there is no way to mate. So white starts looking at the move b4. So here after the move b4 we see that there are a lot of variations and many players get deterred seeing that there are so many variations. If the calculation goes wrong or we don't get a mate, it's like waste of time. But we are trying to improve our game by looking deep into the variations. So after b4, the moves that we see, one is kb4 and other is the move king b6. There is no other option as such. So after b4, kb6, rook b7 check, king has to go to a6 when rook a1 mates. That is the first variation. b4 check, kb6, rook b7 check, king has to go to a6 and rook a1 mates. After the move b4, king into b4 forced, when it looks like there are a lot of places for the king. But white immediately sees that b4, kb4, rb7 check. In all the three lines, king a5, a4 and a3, rook a1 mates. So after b4, kb4, rook b7 check, king a5, a4 or a3, all the three are met by rook a1 mate. And the move king c5 is met by rook b5 checkmates. So the main variation happens to be b4, kb4, rook b7 check, king c3. And seeing this variation, white felt more comfortable that the black king is approaching towards our position and the chances of mate is increasing drastically. So he goes further. b4, kb4, rb7 check, king c3, knight e4 check. Now what happens? The king is getting caught up. If the king comes to c4, then rd4 checkmates. The knight guards c5 and the c3 squares. Rook guards the b5. Rook d4 is checkmate. It's supported by the pawn on e3. After b4, kb4, rook b7 check, kc3, knight e4 check, king c2, and now it looks like the attack is heading towards the dead end. But white has two ways to win in that position. In the game, the white player played rook to b1. Which rook to b1? See, if we play the d rook to b1, there is no defense to rook 7 b2 checkmate. See, king is stuck on c2. And if we play the b7 rook to b1, then also it's going to be checkmate with rook dc1. Let's see which one is stronger. b4, kb4, rook b7 check, kc5, then rook b5 mates, king c3 forced, knight e4 check. If kc4, then rook d4 checkmates. So the only move kc2, So if we don't want to allow any variation, then we should go rook b1, because no one can control the square c1 now. So rook dc1 will be made. After rook d8 or rook d6 or rook b6, we see that rook dc1 checkmates. After rook d8, rook dc1 is checkmate. And after the move rook db1, then we see black has an additional move. We can play rook b6 and stop the mate first. So rook 7 b6, then rook d8 and rook 6 comes to b2 and checkmates. So this is my attempt to look at the positions where we need to calculate variations. This will help us to develop our imagination, the ability to see further and use the candidate moves. I hope you are finding these lessons useful. Do like, share and subscribe the channel. Thanks for your time.